The Short Game is listener-supported on Patreon. If you'd like to support the show and join us on our Discord, head to theshortgame.net or patreon.com/theshortgame.
Welcome back to The Short Game. This is a show about short video games, games that respect your time. I'm Raygan Kelly, and I am joined this week by just one very cool co-host,
Nate Heininger.
And this week we are doing a format that we haven't done in a while. We're doing another music episode. No, these aren't just filler. We love doing them. we don't only do these when we have a train wreck on our schedule. What are you talking about?
Raygan, what do you mean? One of the best things about podcasts is that they're an audio format, and one of the best things about video games is the music. So why not celebrate just the music every once in a while? We tend to gloss over it in the episodes because it's often playing and we don't really need to talk about it that much. But I love these episodes. We haven't done one for like a year and a half.
Too long.
And yeah, maybe, they come about because, we messed up scheduling and we need to do something. But either way, it doesn't matter. It's fun, and it's a great way also to get some engagement from our listeners. So for this episode, we have all, at least me, Shane, and Raygan, have made some selections. Although Shane mysteriously is not with us right now. Yeah. And we also got a ton of recommendations from our listeners between Discord and Twitter, and we're going to go through some of those as well.
And I think we're probably going to be mostly community suggestions on this episode, which is a first for us. Most of the time, this is our picks. And so I'm glad to have the heat off of me for this one a little bit.
I know. We actually got too many suggestions for the format of this episode. Like, we cannot fit all of the suggestions. So thank you to everyone who put in songs. We're going to play a ton of them. But if you didn't get yours in this episode, we're going to keep track of it, and we're going to do this again sometime, and we'll make sure that we get your tracks in there, because I listened to everything and mostly just picked at random to what will be included in the episode just to get a good range of things.
And Nate did most of the planning on this one. I haven't listened to most of these, so you'll be getting my totally hot takes on all of your picks. If you picked something bad, I'll tell you.
That's what the people want.
They want my criticism.
Yeah. That's, when we ask for song recommendations, we're really, hoping to roast the listeners of this show. So let's get at it. Why don't we start off with our picks, though, and then we'll get into the community picks, and then we'll see if Shane shows up.
Nate, why don't you go first?
Sure. So going to go a little on brand here and pick a song from maybe my favorite video game composer right now, Lena Raine. She did the soundtrack for Celeste, which we featured on the last music episode, and something
that was a long time ago.
I know, right? And something that I still listen to regularly. I got the vinyl of it a little while ago, and it plays in our house on the record player pretty frequently. Still one of my favorite albums. And so when Chicory came out, and we all knew Lena Raine was the composer for that game. Besides excitement for just the game, a game that we all loved, the soundtrack was what I was really, really almost more excited about, knowing who composed it. And I was not disappointed. It's very different than the Celeste soundtrack, and I think that's a good thing. It shows her range. So I'm going to just stick with the main theme for this song, gives you an idea, or for this recommendation, gives you an idea of the tone of the music, and it's a fun little song. So we'll go ahead and play some of it, and then see what you think.
love that song. And I love that whole soundtrack so much. I actually had a song from Chicory on my list that I ended up cutting when I realized that you were picking one. So yeah, I'm glad you did. I really love that one. For me, it was the Appy Foothills, which if you're going back and listening to that's one of the standout songs for me. So good. I also had second choice Sips River.
I really think you could pick just about anything from the album. I wanted to play the main theme one because I think it sets the tone so well. But like, even if you have never played the game, go check out the soundtrack. It's awesome.
Yeah, super good. I did realize that Nate was collecting so many listener picks, and so I had a pretty long list, and so I've edited it down, but I could not make myself pick less than 3 things. So apologies. I'll try to get through them quickly so that we can get onto the listener suggestions. I think people will probably not be surprised by any of my picks here. Probably. First one is from the Mr. Driller DrillLand soundtrack. We talked about the Mr. Driller game. So I'm a huge fan of the Mr. Driller series. We covered Mr. Driller DrillLand, which is the modern remake on Switch and PC and a bunch of other consoles of the really great but Japan-only GameCube game. So it was a miracle that we got a fully localized version here. That game has one of the best soundtracks of all time.
It's very good.
And it's also extremely varied. I know we talked a lot about the music on that episode, and I played a lot of the music there, so I'm not going to play a ton here. Also, because we've talked about pretty much a lot of tracks already on the podcast at some point, I felt okay going for one of my favorite tracks. It's also one of the weirder tracks. I really love this soundtrack because of its variety. I think if you like things like the Katamari soundtrack, you'll probably appreciate this. This is by a composer, musician called Go Sina. And the particular track I picked out here is called, let me see, Boku no Chikyu Bokura no Chikyu. And I hope I got that right. And it is one of the tracks that plays when you're playing one of the main modes. And it's great because it's a sort of children's choir thing. You'll hear it here. Imagine this song playing as you're drilling down 1,000 meters. It begins, you're just in the 100-meter range, you hear that horn thing go, and by the time you're breaking through into like the 300-meter range, then it's come in with the whole band, and by the time you're in the 500-meter range, you got a full choir of Japanese school children singing to you about what a great driller you are. If you look up the translation of the soundtrack, of the lyrics here, it's all just like, go Hori, you can do it, you're a great driller.
I love it. I'm a sucker for a good horn. I'm a sucker for a good horn line, and this is a great horn line.
There you get the idea, but you can see it builds and builds. Now we got more horns. It just goes on from there. I can't play too much more, but I love this song. It's a great hype-up song, and it's really great for drilling about 1,000 meters. Here we go.
Yeah, that's awesome. I had never played any of the DrillLand games until we did that episode, and the music is definitely part of what stuck with me from that game, so great choice.
So the next song is another one that I think will surprise no one if you know me and my video game tastes. This has been something that has been sort of my background game for a very long time because I love the Persona games. I started playing 3 like 2 years ago, and it's a fairly long one. And because of all the various commitments and changes of venue and so on, I have to just sort of play this in like 10 hours and then leave it alone for months and then come back and play another 10 hours of this. But the intro movie to Persona 3 features a song that I like a lot. I don't universally love the Persona music, but I think it's hard to argue with this track from the Persona 3 soundtrack, which is called Burn My Dread.
That's a great name.
Yeah, this song is ridiculously over the top, and so is this game. This game is so ridiculous, and every time I come back to it, I don't know, I love this game.
That's
Persona
intense.
3.
Yeah.
It's very, very intense. And the final pick I made here, now this is one that I actually want to play two versions of this, because this is from The Dragon's Trap. I think we talked a little bit about this when we talked about Streets of Rage 4, because the same developers had done the remake of Monster... Oh, geez, what? I'm going to get the title wrong because the titles on this series are ridiculous. Monster World 4, The Dragon's Trap.
Yeah.
Or is it Wonder Boy in Monster World 4? It's the Wonder Boy series. It's confusingly named, and I always forget.
Yeah.
It was a game that originally came out on the Sega Master System, and then they did an incredible remake for Switch and other platforms a couple or 3 years ago, I think. I might have that date wrong. It's been a while, but I absolutely loved this game, and it's something that we can't quite do for the show because it's a pretty it's a retro platformer in a vaguely sort of pre-Metroidvania, like proto-Metroidvania vein, and it has an amazing soundtrack. But the amazing thing about this is how well they took this sort of 8-bit game and updated the soundtrack while keeping the music really very much the same. They fully orchestrated it, and you like get a completely different impression out of basically the same tune. So I'm going to play both versions very briefly. 1 second here.
Nice.
And that's the beach theme for this game. The beach level is great. It's a sort of very long level full of little, like, beach enemies, and you go underwater and you come out and there's a pirate ship or shipwreck that you can go into. It's a great vibe, but I didn't really sort of feel the full, beachiness of it until I heard this version. But the thing is that, like, all of this was there in a sense in the original, like, FM synthesis. Funny thing about the Sega Master System is there's two versions of many of the soundtracks, because you could get a FM synth add-on for the Sega Master System, or it could have the sort of old style 8-bit non-FM version of the soundtracks. And I think I played the FM synth version earlier, and a lot of this music is there, but it's just not there, and then here it is fully orchestrated. And that's what I really love about this. That game the remake would let you switch between the old 8-bit art and the modern art, and the old 8-bit soundtrack and the modern soundtrack with the push of a button at any time. It's an absolutely amazing implementation, and it really lets you sort of feel out that difference. I can't recommend that game highly enough, and the soundtrack has been on my phone and played many, many times.
Well, I know you're a tiki lover, and so I'm just picturing you with a Mai Tai sitting around some thatched roofs and little torches and having a great time listening to this track.
Yeah, it's a great soundtrack. So now we have... Oh, here's where I'm going to edit in Shane. Oh, what's this?
What? Oh no, I'm fading away.
Nate, where are you going?
No, I'll be back.
Hey, I'm in.
Whoa, what is this? Materializing before me. Who is this specter, this ghost that appears from nowhere via the magic of editing?
I don't. It's the generic video game protagonist who doesn't remember who he is.
Welcome to the episode, Shane. Joining us, recorded at a separate time.
Yeah. Technically, I am the first to record this episode, so thank you very much. I like how you assume that I will be edited in as though I'm coming in late, even though we're recording you and me first.
Well, you aren't going to be here for the intro of the episode, so...
Unless you want to record the intro now.
Nah, I'm not doing that.
All right.
Shane, you got some audio picks, you got some songs that you want to bring to the episode?
Yes. I like the way that we're just kind of sliding this episode into the feed, cut together as a way to respect everybody's time, just like we always care so much about time. I still chuckle when I remember recently you described yourself as a time-interested gamer, which I just love that. So yeah, I got 3 tracks, as is our plan here, and one of them is fairly recent, but some of these go back a few years. So should I do them in chronological or reverse chronological order of game release?
Surprise me.
Okay, so I will start with so this is a game that I have loved since its release. I have not always been a 100% supporter of it, but I do think it's a little funny that we've never actually covered No Man's Sky like in depth on this show. There's a lot to say about it, and
it's not short. That's one thing to say about it.
Yeah, it's really not short. I've spent hundreds of hours in this game, and it's now just had yet another gigantic content release, a free DLC that adds I haven't delved back into this one, but from what I can tell, it essentially drops Mos Eisley cantinas all over every planet.
Wait, Shane, are you about to play me some jizz music?
Yeah. Listeners, please ignore my brother who thinks I'm about to... Who thinks obscure Star Trek wiki references are good podcast material, and instead
Star Wars, Shade, Star Wars. Let's
thank
not
you very
anger
much,
the listeners unnecessarily.
You and your jizz. So please delete that from the episode. I beg you.
Fuck.
Edit your own self out. I would like to play for you a track that is called "Blueprint for a Slow Machine." The thing that I really like about this soundtrack is it takes kind of this digital smooth jazz approach The visual style of the game is so influenced by like the covers of 70s sci-fi novels and stuff like that. And to kind of pair that with chill wave lounge music that just kind of fades in and out. I just think it works really well. I love this. I love this soundtrack. It never feels like super old to me, even when I'm coming back to this game over and over again over the course of the last 5 years.
That says something for sure.
Ready for the next track?
Let's go for it.
So this is the kind of star track. This is the biggest track from a game that really is music forward. The game is called The Tetris Effect, and we did cover it on this show. And at the time, we talked about the soundtrack, but there wasn't an official soundtrack release when we covered it.
Yeah, I remember hearing that had happened, but I think when I saw it, it may have originally debuted as a vinyl, and I was like, I'm not picking that up, and I didn't realize this was now out digitally, so it's on Bandcamp is what I'm seeing here, probably also other places too. I remember really loving this game's approach to sort of generative music, and at the time, I think when we played the game, they were saying they weren't planning to release a soundtrack because so much of the musical soundscape of this is sort of generated by your Tetris play, that they felt like there couldn't be like an official mix of it because it's sort of generative each time. I thought that was a bit of a cop-out, like, you know, have somebody play the game once and decide that's the canon version, and there you go, put it on Bandcamp and people will enjoy it. Maybe do a couple
I think it makes sense to then kind of have like a real mix done by a full-on audio engineer but here, let me just shut up for a second. You can listen to this because this is also a track that has lyrics, which most video game music doesn't. The idea here is it kind of recontextualized Tetris in a totally new way, where this game that came out of like Soviet Russia, where the original theming was like we're using bricks to build the Kremlin, is instead about universal love and connection. The kind of initial presentation of this game, because I played it, of course, the first time on PlayStation VR, where you're completely immersed in this sort of undersea firefly fireworks spectacular where the whales and manta rays are appearing out of stardust. It's just it really, honestly, it's a beautiful level, and it is a beautiful song, and I just love it. Not every track in this game has lyrics at all. A lot of them are just, really good driving beats or what have you. But this one, there's something really special about this, and I think they were right to make this the very first level, the thing that draws you into the game.
I have nothing to add. This game and this song in particular are just incredible. Here it is, and this is maybe one of the best video game pieces of music of the last decade, I think.
I mean, the original Tetris theme is pretty iconic too.
Hey, lightning can strike twice, I guess. That's awesome.
Yeah. All right, and I'll hit the last pick is probably from my most recent game. Actually, I think, definitely my most recent on this list here. Off of the Hades soundtrack. So Hades has this really cool soundtrack that uses really unconventional instrumentation. It kind of slams together traditional, Greek instruments with hard rock and heavy metal, like really driving beats. So Darren Korb is not typically a metal musician. I think that's kind of a new element that he's working in the soundtrack to Hades. He's done the soundtracks to most of the Supergiant games. The soundtrack for Transistor is one that I think we've talked about before.
I'm positive that we included songs from either or Pyre or both on a previous music episode. It's been a long time since we've done one of these. As we're recording, I haven't gone back and methodically checked the past stuff, but whatever, doesn't matter. It's been a while. I love his music. It's always good. And the Hades soundtrack was a bit of a surprise. It's got some really good songs in there, but it's definitely not the standard. He's had a lot of breadth in even just the stuff he'd done previously for Supergiant, but this still felt surprising to me.
All the tracks on the whole album are pretty good, especially the things like the main theme and the final boss fight, which kind of reprises the main theme. Both of those are super cool tracks. Mouth of Styx that you're hearing right now is just one of the tracks you're going to hear as you navigate the game. But it really has that sort of twangy sound that I think is so unique to this soundtrack. It has this string instrumentation that, well, first off, the beat is just this real uneven, unsteady beat that it feels like it's playing some kind of weird math rock thing where it's giving me like odd time signatures, and then you get this string instrument. I don't even know what that is, but it sounds just out there, and all of that is on top of just a pretty cool bass line. This is maybe among the different video game soundtracks one where I don't put this on when I'm working. Like, I could put on the other tracks that we've just discussed while I'm working on something, but this one is too unsettling. Honestly, it's the kind of music that you just, if you're hearing it, you don't even want to sit still. Good track. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing all the rest on this episode, and now I'm going to evaporate into the ether.
Shane, where are you going? Oh no, he's gone. Like he was never here. And here we're coming back.
All right.
Oh, what a strange experience.
That was
via the
strange.
magic of editing.
Yes.
The ghost of Shane joined us on the podcast despite his inability to join us today. So,
well, it works out because I refused to be on a record with the ghost of Shane. So this was good.
I refuse to be on a podcast with Shane at all now.
Yeah. So this worked out for me. So we're going to go ahead and now get into some of our listener picks. Again, thank you to everyone for your suggestions. Some really cool and interesting stuff. And if you are not on here this time, keep listening and keep giving suggestions because we'll do this again. We'll get you in there. So we're going to go ahead and start with the first one, starting in the Discord here. This one is coming from Obdot in the Discord, otherwise known as Molly, my wife, who suggested a bunch of songs with a similar vibe. We've talked a lot, even on this show, about the sort of folksy revolution that's happened across video game music for a little while now. So a lot of recommendations with that sort of folky vibe that's becoming more and more popular, and ultimately going with one from a game that we don't really talk about on this show because it's not a short game, but it's a very popular series. This is a song called Now That This World Is Ending, and it's coming from Far Cry 5.
never played Far Cry 5. I think the only Far Cry game I ever played was, I don't know if it was 2 or 3 now, and it's been many years. And I never got that into them really as a series, but I do definitely get the appeal if it, you get the sort of open world full of interactive, intersecting systems and whatnot. But I don't know, just never been a series I got very far with.
Me neither. However, the music is a really great tone piece. This really sets the vibe for what this game is gonna, with the tone and music of this game is gonna be like. A lot of the songs that people recommended this time are sort of tone pieces. I think we typically, when you think about video game music, you think more of the like what you were playing with DrillLand, right? The like sort of insanity, like it's fun and it's like poppy. And I think there's been a real push towards music like this over the past few years that really is more about like an undertone to the whole story. It's pretty good though.
Thank you, Molly.
Yes. The next song we're going to play is from the recent Final Fantasy IV Pixel Remaster. This is called Battle with the Four Fiends. This was recommended to us by the patron saint of Bird Week. And they said that this is their favorite song from the Final Fantasy series, which that's a lofty...
strong soundtracks there.
Yeah, there's a lot of famous Final Fantasy music. But after listening to this one...
Did they have new soundtracks for the Pixel remasters? I wasn't aware of that. I knew they were doing new art, but I didn't know about the
I don't know. I honestly don't know. This is... I am not super well versed
in... I wouldn't know the Final Fantasy IV soundtrack anyway, so let's give this a listen.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's instantly pretty good. I was about to stop it, but now I'm glad I let it play past the minute here because it really gets into some good stuff there. Yeah, there's the loop probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's great. I enjoy that. That's really nice.
You can always count on Final Fantasy to have something like insane. It's so good. That when that horn line comes in, I said it already. I'm a sucker for a good horn line. Then you get some like crazy math rock style like drum breaks, and it's what a good choice. That's going very high up on my own personal list. So thank you. I know that they don't generally refer to themselves as the patron saint of Bird Week, but that's what we know them as.
Robert Hawks, I think, is his name. Thank you, Robert Hawks. So next one up on the list here is from the Hades soundtrack, which is hard to go wrong with. Darren Korb has done many good soundtracks for Supergiant, and Hades was no exception, although it's a different kind of vibe. I think when movie magic here, I think Shane suggested a Hades track when he was briefly on the podcast in ghost form a few minutes ago, right?
Yeah.
And that I love the Hades soundtrack, but it's definitely different from the other stuff that Darren Korb has done for Supergiant. But it rules. Here is the track that Abekin suggested, and it is The King and the Bull.
And what I love about this selection, what we're about to listen to, is that Hades, almost every song sort of has like a calm part and a intense part, depending on what you're doing in the game. And so we're going to listen to a part that is the calm part and then the intense part.
Yes. this shows off something that I think that he does a lot in this soundtrack. That kind of like weirdness to the wailing guitar. I think it's guitar anyway. The soundtrack always finds ways to make that music sound like old-timey and also unsettling.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like classic rock by way of Halloween music. Listener, you cannot hear me headbanging, but I assure you I am. Yeah, this rules. I think we got it, but damn.
It's just straight up like metal music. It's awesome. Mm-hmm. It's so good. Yeah.
I love the Hades soundtrack. It's really great.
Yeah.
Moving to the next one on the list here. This one was recommended by a friend of the show, Hacksaw Unit. Everybody go check out his games, especially my favorite action puzzle game, Combo Postage. It's great. It's on itch. It's $3. You should download it. I still play it obsessively, at least once every couple of weeks or so. So highly recommended there. And his music pick also seems like a good one, although it's not one that I've heard. So I'm looking forward to checking this out. He's suggested a track from Death Road to Canada, which is something we've considered covering on the show. It just seems like a little too long for our format, but it's something that I would really like to check out sometime. And this song is called One More Road Song.
And we're going to pick it up a little far into the song, just to give you an idea of where because it starts and it really builds up. So...
A little hard to come down after Hades.
I know, this is maybe the opposite.
Maybe we should have put that in the reverse order, but this is a really chill track.
Yeah. You know, I might be influenced by the name of the song, but one of my favorite things with video game music is driving to it, getting in the car and going somewhere and listening to video game music. And like, all I want to do with this track is just like be in the car and like driving down like an empty highway or something, or like an old back road. It just seems so nice.
This is convertible music.
Yeah.
Top down. Honestly, this is probably the most chiptune-y thing we've had on our list so far.
Yeah.
Apart from the actual chiptune that I played from the Sega Master System, but you get what I mean.
Yeah. All right, our next song is from a game that we all really loved. We did a couple years back. The recommendation coming to us from from DD Beck from the Discord. This is Garbage Day from the game Donut County, composed by Daniel Koestner. This game was great, and I think this song does a good job of really setting the tone for what this game is going to be like, most notably how weird this song gets at the end. So we're going to come in kind of in the middle of it and hear the back half of it, because I really wanted you to hear like where this song goes. Yeah, the game is so strange, and I love how fun that song starts, and then by the end, it's like, am I having an aneurysm, or is this just how this song goes? It's really, really clever, and somehow, at least, I think still fun to listen to, even when it's getting super weird like that. So this next song is actually a remix of a very, very popular soundtrack. And we don't do a lot of, or I don't even know if we've done any straight remixes on this, on these episodes, but I thought it was good to throw in because there is a huge community of video game remixes out there doing some really cool and interesting things. And I think if you're like really into video game music, you're probably also into the remix scene. And so this is a remix of Clocktown from Majora's Mask, a fantastic soundtrack, done by Theophany. This was recommended to us by Discord member The Sweat. Shout out The Sweat. Thanks for the recommendation. And so let's go ahead and give it a listen. Really lovely.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Oh, so I have a note on this one. So before we move to the next song, I had to talk about this in the episode. So as I was pulling these songs, listening to them, and getting ready for the show, I was looking at a lot of these on YouTube. And I happened to look at the top YouTube comment for this song, and it made me laugh so hard that I wanted to talk about it on the show. The top comment has like a ton of like thumbs up or whatever YouTube does. It said, it's almost 2020 and I never knew this masterpiece existed. Makes you think what else I might have missed in my life. Just like, oh, buddy, like a little bit of existential dread, right? Dropped right into the middle of your Majora's Mask remix. I
Also,
hope.
my God, like I'm glad he has good music to look forward to. But buddy, 2020, it's almost 2020 for him.
Oh no, yeah.
Oh no.
Oh geez. Well, there was maybe we all had a lot of time, and still do here in 2021, to just sort of sit in our houses. So hopefully they found some even better, more interesting music, the things that they've missed in their life so far. So anyway, shout out to that person. I hope they're doing well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, next one on the list is so first of all, this one is coming to us from very big friend of the show, Jeremiah, thank you, Jeremiah, is on our Discord and everything. And he's been suggesting for a very long time, and we have done him dirty by not doing.
We really have, but hey, this is a olive branch right here.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah, this will make us feel less bad about not getting to this one. He's been suggesting we do Just Shapes and Beats forever, and it is a good game, and I do hope to cover it on the show eventually. I got stuck in it, but Shane, I think, played the whole thing, and I'm pretty sure it deserves an episode once I finish it. Which I plan to do eventually. But it has amazing music, really good stuff. And so this particular track, actually looking at the listing here, I'm not positive if, I think Strike the Earth is the title and Danimal Cannon is the artist,
yes.
right? I'm mixing those two
and
up.
this is actually in the game, there's a ton of music. And in this game, or this song is actually a remix of a
Oh, Strike the Earth from the Shovel Knight soundtrack.
Shovel Knight, exactly.
Right. Yep. I thought that sounded familiar.
This is a remix of a Shovel Knight song that you can play through in just shapes and beats.
Awesome. Okay, well let's give it a listen. The original goes hard, but that one goes even harder.
There is such a crossover between metal music and video game music, and we've seen it both in actual games like Hades and then the remixes like this. And then there are bands out there. I've seen them twice, and I can't remember right now. I'll find it. We'll put it in the show notes. But I've seen a band that does metal remixes of songs while someone on stage plays through the game that they're doing.
I've seen that act too.
Yeah,
I can't remember what they're called.
I have one of their albums.
Or it was the mini boss. I forget. Anyway,
yeah. So it's awesome. I have one of their vinyl album of their metal covers of Zelda music, and it's awesome. So it seems like our listeners are right into this scene as well, because we've got a lot of metal music, metal style video game music that's been recommended to us.
The next one on the list I was really excited to hear. This is coming to us from JMac, friend of the show and also friend to the interactive fiction community. And this is the main theme from Black Knight 2000, which is a really rad pinball table. And I think that's a really neat... we've never played pinball music on here. Not all pinball machines have music. Those that do, sometimes it's not particularly good. But this seems pretty rad.
This is awesome. It's one of my favorite ones.
Oh yeah, I've played Black Knight. Hell yeah. Yeah, this is bringing me back.
Here comes the best part.
You got the power. You got the might.
No way.
Get ready for battle.
Give me your money.
Beat the Black Knight.
Oh yeah, I remember Black Knight talks. Yeah. I don't think it plays that. I think this must be some kind of a mix, because those sound effects I think just play from the table at various points as you're playing. It's been a long time, but I've definitely played Black Knight 2000. I don't think it like sings along in exactly that way, but
give me your money.
But it's pretty great. I want to listen to more of this. Hang on. Oh yeah, there it is. I wonder, did this have like a sound chip in it, or was it like playing a tape?
I don't know.
A lot of the older pinball tables that played music just had a tape inside, and I'm sure that was like a nightmare to keep working. But this sounds like sound chip stuff.
You got the power. You got the might.
No way.
Get ready for battle.
Give me your money.
Beat the Black Knight.
Give me your money. It's the most honest pinball table there is. I love it. All right, that's really great.
Oh man, give me
Thanks
your money.
to J-Mac for sending that our
it's
way.
so funny. All right. So the next song was recommended to us by John from Gaming in the Wild. Big friend of the show. Thanks, John. He recommended really just the overall soundtrack to a game called Cloud Gardens, which I have not played. But as you can expect from a name like Cloud Gardens, maybe two of the most calm words there are. This song is the whole soundtrack is very, very calm. Earlier, I said that the Road to Canada song might be the opposite of the metal music we've been listening to. This one actually might be the opposite. Very, very calm. Definitely like a tone piece. This song is called Lucent, and it was done by Amos Roddy, who is the composer for this game.
I would expect nothing less from John.
It's very
I can
nice.
almost hear his calm and melodious voice. Listeners, if you like this music, you'll probably like John's podcast, Gaming in the Wild. It has the same kind of vibe.
Yeah, super chill song. Makes me want to play the game. Atmospheric. Sounds great.
Mm-hmm. All right, next up from Vizela826 on Twitter. This is a song they recommended called Feisty Flowers from a game called Everhood, and I've heard of none of that. So I'm looking forward to checking it out. Let's give it a
This
listen.
is awesome. I've never heard of Everhood either, but like I gotta play this game now after this.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I really like that.
I love hearing someone going buck wild on an organ, and then it almost sounds to me like if if Toby Fox from Undertale was like trying to write music for Sonic the Hedgehog, or like vice versa. It's bonkers. That track is awesome.
Yeah,
very
I just
into
looked this
it.
game up, and I've never seen this before. I don't remember ever having it suggested to the show, although it may have been, and I just don't remember. But it looks a bit like Undertale with like dance game interactions for battles. Like all the battles seem to be kind of like Guitar Hero style thing, where you got like the note chart coming towards you, and you're sort of moving around it, trying to dodge attacks. And this looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I would like to check this out.
Yeah.
84 on Metacritic. I've never heard of it. Looks fun. Came out March 4th, 2021. So pretty new. Still.
Pretty new.
Nice.
Awesome. Well, either way, that song was awesome. And
It really was good. Yeah.
So we'll go ahead and we're going to round it out. We're going to end it on a game that I played, actually about almost a year ago, but it still feels fresh to me. And it's a game that is roundly loved by everyone on the podcast and seemingly everyone in the world. It's a song from Hollow Knight, this was recommended to us by @AndyRay. What's up, Andy? We're going to listen to Dirt Mouth from the Hollow Knight soundtrack. This whole soundtrack is awesome, but I think this is a great pick.
Hollow Knight has like this lost, solemn kind of tone to so much of it, but still really, really beautiful. And I don't know, it's really done well. Everything
On Hollow Knight so perfectly serves the purpose of what it's trying to accomplish, and like the music is there's a wide range of different songs in Hollow Knight. I mean, it's an action game, so it's not all that calm, but Dirt Mouth is one of the places you're at the most. You hear this song a lot, and you come back to it a lot. Solemn is the right word. Like, there is such a the tone that they create in Hollow Knight, that they carry all the way through, even as you're getting more and more powerful and more intense, and it's getting weirder and weirder. Everything just feels so tight and so perfectly thoughtful. I love that game, and I thought it was a good one to end. Even though it's a calmer track, and we've listened to some bangers on this episode, I thought it was a perfect one to end because that game uses music so perfectly, and really I just wanted to shout it out.
Yeah, so thank you so much to all of our listeners for suggesting tracks, and that was awesome to go through those. Thank you, Nate, for organizing all of this. Nate collected all the tracks and put them in order, and helped me get things ready to go, and so that we can actually get this thing edited. These music episodes are fun to do, but they're also a little more difficult to edit than our average. So that's thank you, Nate, and thank you to our patrons. This show would not be possible without our patrons on Patreon. And you can find our Patreon at patreon.com/theshortgame. And becoming a patron of the show, even at just $1 a month level, gives you access to our Discord, which is where we talk about the show and where a lot of these suggestions came from. It's also where, if you're one of our patrons, you'll also get early access to episodes. And with this particular episode, maybe it's a little extra benefit because I'll release this at a higher bit rate there, where I can just throw you guys the biggest file that Patreon will allow, whereas on our standard feed, we do a pretty typical 64 kbps mono, for podcasts. That's standard for podcasts. But when we do a music episode like this, it's nice to be able to do an upgraded version.
Look at that value. $1 a month. That is, I mean, we're practically giving it away.
Yeah, and if you come in at the $5 level, even just for a little while, you get stickers.
Stickers,
Can't
I mean,
that.
those are, I mean, we're losing money on this.
So thank you to all of our patrons. Really appreciate it. You can find us on the internet at www.theshortgame.net. That's where you find links to all that stuff. You'll find our past episodes if you want to go back and look through our whole back catalog or listen to past music episodes. Maybe you dug this and want to hear some other suggestions. And you can find us on Twitter at _shortgame. You can also find me on Twitter at Raygan K. That's RayganK. And Nate, where can people find you?
On Twitter at Nate STL.
And Ghostly Shane, where can people find you? On Twitter at
I sound like Reagan, but a little different.
Thank you, Shane. And listeners, thank you once again for joining us on this episode of The Short Game.